views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Mission BX. I'm Eileen Newman, your host, and the role of Mission BX is to take you into the world of nonprofits in the Bronx. Mission BX is a collaboration between BronxNet and the Center for Bronx Nonprofits at Hostos Community College. Today, we're going to be visiting with Jerelyn Rodriguez, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Knowledge House, a very special place. So stay tuned and come along to the Knowledge House. Hi, everyone. This is Mission BX. I'm your host, Eileen Newman, and we're going to be visiting today with the Knowledge House CEO and co-founder, Jerelyn Rodriguez. And I'm going to start in a way that I never do start, and that is by reading the mission statement of the Knowledge House, because what they do is so interesting and different than a lot of other nonprofits that we've been featuring. So I'm going to have Jerelyn unpack this mission statement and explain what it means. So the mission of the Knowledge House is to empower and sustain a talent pipeline of technologists, entrepreneurs, and digital leaders who will uplift their communities out of poverty. So tell us about that, Jerelyn. And thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Eileen. So our mission statement is really important to us because it allows us to provide a core service, right? And that's how we empower young people with technology skills through our core job training programs. But the sustaining a pipeline, we do that in partnership. And so we have a two-part mission. The first part, that empowerment part, means that we offer two core job training programs. One is called the Kareem Carbouche Coding Fellowship. It's a code and design program for high school youth. And then the other program is called the Innovation Fellowship. It's an adult job training program that allows emerging technologists to specialize in Python or full stack web development. And so we offer these two programs year round. But then also we work really closely with partners to support our participants. So when it comes to COVID, for example, we had to partner with the Bronx Community Foundation and DreamYard. These are local nonprofits in the Bronx to match our students to technology devices. When it came to volunteering and mentorship, we reached out to corporations that wanted to invest in racial equity work. They wanted to they wanted to hire diverse talent. And we reached out looking for volunteers to mentor our students, provide career talks, et cetera. And we even align our job training curriculum to colleges so that we're not only strengthening career pathways for participants, but also post-secondary pathways. And so, for example, we have a credit-bearing partnership with Hostos. It aligns our web development curricula to 6 college credits at their media department. And so you can see all of these partnerships with various stakeholders provide more resources to our students and just a more robust support system. The Knowledge House, there's too much need for us to tackle this issue alone. And so the more we work with partnerships, the more sustainable our work is.
So tell me about the need. Because we hear about the need, but I think we hear often when we talk about the Bronx, and that's why I'm very happy to be talking to you about what you're doing. We hear about the need for food. We hear about housing need. This is a completely different career building need. So what did you see that made you, first of all, create this, and how did you even get the idea for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So professionally, I come from the education sector. Before the Knowledge House, I ran after school programs for schools. I taught writing for a year, and I was doing a lot of parent organizing, student organizing work to, reform schools. But I was actually frustrated in my profession with the college or bust myth. And so I always explain to folks, college worked for me. I love my alma mater. I graduated from Columbia University. However, college did not work for a lot of my family members and a lot of my peers living in the Bronx. And so I always had an interest in alternative career pathways. And I was always interested in technology, understanding that there are so many different types of tech jobs. And there are so many ways to get a high wage and gain these high tech skills that lead to career ladders and like higher wages, sustainable careers. And the fact that 44% of these jobs do not require college means that these economic opportunities are available to the population we serve at the Knowledge House. And so just making sure that Bronx residents, especially because we're innovative and creative, that we have access to high-tech skills that require us to produce technology, not only consume it. We serve young people, they're all digital natives. So literally when they were born, the internet existed, everything is on a mobile device. They're on social media and they're playing games 24/7. Why not empower them to create these technologies? And so that's why my co-founder and I started the Knowledge House. We wanted to make sure that Bronx youth and Bronx residents were not being left out of the innovation economy. And so we know that the tech sector is growing. When we started the Knowledge House, there was a projected 300,000 computer science jobs available in 2020. And then the pandemic hit and every job became a tech job. So since COVID, we've seen an increase in our applications. We know that remote work is here to stay, even post the pandemic. And so we think digital skills training is needed now more than ever, especially in a place like the Bronx, where unemployment rose to 25% after COVID.
So I am so happy to hear you say that, despite the fact that I work at a college that I teach, because one, and this is also something that's starting to happen. I had spent many years in the independent film industry, so I would constantly think, why are we not directing young people into these jobs? I would talk to people who had a high school education and were electricians and were making $100,000 a year because they had a skill. And I know that, I'm not sure that, I think you might be aware of them or working possibly with them. RealWorks, do you know about RealWorks?
Yeah, so RealWorks, they're another nonprofit in this space, and they've been doing a lot of work with credentialing, especially for media and entertainment jobs.
Yes.
And so we are literally looking to their best practice, like how to make sure that an underserved population can signal to employers the skills that they have through these credentials. So really happy to be working with them and following their partnership with CUNY. And I know that you are also familiar with Ghetto Film School, which started in the Bronx.
Yes.
But 100% what you say resonates, right? If Bronx residents are creative, right, as the inventors of hip hop and pioneers of so many movements, why not empower young people, especially to create film and create technology and have these skills that result in high-paying jobs?
Exactly. And that had jobs that they can have forever because they can grow into those jobs. Because I know that the credentialing piece of RealWorks is actually leading to something I thought I would never see. And that is women and people of color having opportunities to work next to union employees that have been in the field for many, many years. So all of this is extremely exciting to see. And I think that the coming together of people like you and people in other organizations, the people up at Hostos who are doing the work in animation and digital media of all sorts. And I think that one of the things that's also happened is that these things were things that the general public didn't necessarily understand what this all was. I mean, what was digital media? But now we're more and more understanding what digital everything is. So, but given that, I have a couple of questions to ask you about the changes. Yes, you had more people coming to your classes. What did you have to do as a result of the pandemic to be able to respond to the new population that was at your doorstep?
So I can share some examples of how COVID impacted us. I mean, the biggest challenge was maintaining our financial health. As soon as COVID hit, my funding partners, some of them became unresponsive. My government contracts were on hold. Yeah. And I just saw other workforce development nonprofits cancel their programs, or ramble to start new programs. But for us, not having that, steady cash flow really put us at risk of, having payroll cuts. We had to freeze hiring through all of 2020. Luckily, we received the PPP loan that helped us survive 2020. And then the murder of George Floyd happened. And then we really leveraged the call to action for corporations especially. We saw a lot of companies stand up, share solidarity statements, promising to diversify their workforce or promise to invest in racial equity work. And then things started to shift for us. We increased our corporate giving. We were able to partner with companies that not only funded our work, but they donated technology for our students. Whereas in 2019, we recruited 50 volunteers. Last year, we were able to recruit 90 volunteers just because companies were being so generous.
Right.
And, everything had to transition to virtual. And so because the virtual instruction, because everything was virtual, it was easy for volunteers to engage with us no matter where they were located.
So I'm going to stop you there because we have to take a little bit of a break. Okay. And then I want to hear all about the rest of that. And also, I think that you got a big acknowledgement from a huge foundation that we want to talk about too. So,
absolutely. Okay.
So we'll talk about that when we come back.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome back, everybody. And I'm here with Jerelyn Rodriguez from the Knowledge House, and we're talking about what happened when COVID struck. So of course, it had a huge negative impact, as we all know, but for your organization, as you were saying, it helped a lot of people be able to move forward through the organization.
Absolutely. Like, we saw a shift once we decided to be responsive to different stakeholders' needs, so understanding that our students, they have to succeed in virtual learning. So, we put out a call to action. Companies, like, please help us cover hotspots, laptops. We got a bunch of technology donated. I mentioned earlier that we partnered with the Bronx Community Foundation, and they gave us some grant funding to launch a tech lending library. So that's a positive thing. But also, companies wanted to get to know our talent, so they started to mentor our students. For the first time, we matched every job trainee to a mentor from the industry that is supporting them for the next year.
So tell me what kind of places that people were mentored, what organizations were mentoring people?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Innovation Fellowship is our core job training program for adults. We have 40 job trainees enrolled as of September. But since the summer, because companies were being generous, a lot of them signed up to volunteer and mentor our students. So for example, we have volunteers from a startup company called Cloudinary. We have volunteers from Bloomberg. A lot of Bloomberg supporters are mentoring our students. And not only mentorship, because through our volunteer opportunities, we have high touch, regular mentorship opportunities, but also low touch, one-time opportunities. So for example, we partnered with Ernst & Young to recruit 30 professionals to help with interview prep. So we got 30 professionals to do a mock interview day where they literally were matched with our job trainees, did a mock interview, and our students were able to get feedback from a person that works in the industry. And so a lot of that has happened since the summer. And, people's generosity, companies' generosities have allowed us to match our students to more resources. And that funding that we started receiving from corporations allowed us to provide cash assistance to our participants. Traditionally, Knowledge House students are underemployed. They have part-time jobs on the weekends. But since COVID, 90% of our students are furloughed or unemployed. So that cash assistance is crucial so that they persist. So those are ways, just being responsive to the corporate sector, being responsive to our students and their transition to virtual learning has really helped us grow and stay in a good place.
So, okay, I have now for all of my viewers who are not as adept at technology, I have the stupidest question ever, but I'm going to ask you anyway on air.
There are no stupid questions.
What's a hotspot?
Oh yeah. So so there's Wi-Fi, right?
Right.
So everyone has Wi-Fi, or not everyone has Wi-Fi, but people have Wi-Fi connected to their homes. And then MiFis are like mobile Wi-Fi devices. And those are also called hotspots. But a hotspot isn't always a device because, for example, I have a hotspot on my mobile phone, so I can use my mobile phone as a portable internet device. Yeah.
Thank you. Because that people keep saying that, and I think
that's an important question because everyone keeps saying that. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then you think I'm not going to ask. So, but I'm glad I did ask. Thank you. So that really is amazing and wonderful that all of this happened. But I have another question. How many people work with you? And I know that you're going to tell me some number that's so small.
It's so small, Eileen.
I'm going to be shocked.
So okay, before COVID, we had about 15 full-time, 18 total staff, but we had to freeze hiring because of COVID. And so we did lose some staff and we were not able to staff up. And so we're currently at 12 staff. We need to be at 20 to, have a successful year. So the past 2 weeks, I have been, interviewing folks nonstop. We're hiring for 10 open roles right now.
So can you, where are you advertising all this so that people who might see this would be able to apply?
Yeah. So if anyone goes to theknowledgehouse.org, on the About page, on the team page, there's a careers link and all of the jobs are posted there. Okay. And our application for the programs is also up. So if you go to the apply page, you can find all the programs that are upcoming and anyone can submit an application.
So can you also send that information to me? Because we have a MailChimp list of 1,400 people. So you never know who knows somebody who might be interested, and we certainly, and it goes out to a lot of organizations in the Bronx. So I know you said that you started out in education but starting out in education and coming up with this idea. So tell me how, I mean, this is, that's big. So.
Well, there's a part of my personal story that I haven't shared yet. And so even though I worked in education professionally, when I was in college, I studied film. And so I have a passion. I have a passion for film. I've been writing, producing, editing short films since I was in high school. That's how I became passionate about film, through Ghetto Film School. But when I was making short films in high school, HD wasn't a thing yet, and social media was not popular yet. And so I literally was digitizing the footage from my standard tapes and using all this extra hardware. It would take hours to make a short film. And in high school, finally, they upgraded the technology, and then there were HD cards. And then all of a sudden, editing was so fast. And then with the launch of YouTube and social media, I just realized how technology is providing access so that the average person can tell stories. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
I always share what got me passionate about technology is how I saw technology transform cinema and create access. And so that's my tie to technology. Okay. And when I started the Knowledge House, it was my dream to teach filmmaking skills. But it just happened to be that teaching coding is affordable because things are online, you don't really need cameras, etc.
Right.
But that's the tie to technology. And so my last job before the Knowledge House, I was actually doing some community organizing for this campaign. I was the field director for Reshma Saujani's campaign for New York City Public Advocate. This was back in 2012. And she's also the founder of Girls Who Code. So I learned a lot about how the nonprofit sector was tackling this issue, this tech access issue. And I was inspired to see a woman of color start something. And she's not a technologist. I'm not a technologist either. So just seeing how she did it inspired me. And it was at that job that I met my co-founder, actually. I was campaigning, canvassing, and I bumped into the Bronx Business Incubator, which is located in Hunts Point.
Right.
And so there I met so many technologists. They were of color. They were making a lot of money, but they were choosing to stay in the Bronx. But their challenge was that they couldn't hire locally. There wasn't enough of a pipeline. And so my co-founder, Joe Carano, he was the community manager at the Business Incubator at the time. So he introduced me to these tech entrepreneurs. He also introduced me to the Bronx Tech Meetup, other tech leaders locally. And that's how I got involved. And so with my co-founder and all of these tech entrepreneurs from the incubator, we launched the Knowledge House in 2014. Right. So Reshma Saujani didn't end up winning, but I had built this network of local techies, that really wanted to give back to their community. So it was really inspiring. And that's how we got started.
That is a great story. And it's an inspiring story for people who who think about being entrepreneurs, who can't really imagine that they could, and just
Right.
the idea of connections. And I think that people think of connections as something that's out there, connecting with people you're never going to meet. And in fact, what you've just talked about is connections close to home.
Local connections.
Absolutely. And that's incredibly inspiring, and should be inspiring for anybody watching this, thinking about doing this. So we're running out of time, unfortunately, but I do want to ask you, where do you see Knowledge House in 5 years, after obviously you've made your feature film and people know that, but where?
Well, Eileen, that's still a dream. So, but
dreams don't die. I know this dream.
Oh, thank you. Well, what's really exciting is that because we had a positive year in 2020, we're resuming with our expansion plans. Starting 2019, we were exploring what national expansion looked like, and then COVID kind of put those plans on pause. But we're going to continue with our expansion plans. Through 2021, the job training programs are going to stay virtual. So it actually allows us to go into different markets and pilot what it's like to serve job seekers and form partnerships with wraparound service organizations or employers in those different markets. And so for the next 5 years, we are looking to expand to 2 to 3 different cities. And so this year, we are going to increase our enrollment and impact in the Bronx, but we'll also make our programs available to job seekers in Atlanta, Georgia, in Newark, New Jersey, and Los Angeles, California. So growth, we have a lot of ambitious growth plans, and that's why we need to hire so many people right now. But yeah, I just want to increase our impact, There's so many people that have needs right now. And if we can expand our services to expand impact, I would love to do that.
That is great and just inspiring. So, and now we have to leave you, but thank you so much, Jerelyn.
Thank you, Eileen.
I learned so much because I've known about the Knowledge House, but never really the nuts and bolts. And now I even know what a hotspot is. So thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you, Eileen. And I'm happy to come back anytime.
Great. And good luck with everything and the film.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. We're sorry to have to end our visit with CEO and co-founder of the Knowledge House, Jerelyn Rodriguez. But if you'd like to watch the show again or missed any part of it, just go to BronxNet.tv and look for Mission BX. And make sure to join us the next time we go to visit yet another wonderful nonprofit in the Bronx.
Everything is here for the taking, my friend. The only one is you.